right, I will call this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works to order. This is Tuesday, November 24th of 2020. First up, we have messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board this evening?
I would just like to thank all of the crews out there picking up leaves. It's a task, but we live in Tree City, so we can expect a lot of leaves. For all of you, be safe and have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks. All right, next up we have petitions and remonstrances. If we have anyone who is in attendance who would like to make a public comment that is not related to an item on our agenda, now is the opportunity to do so. Do we have any public comment on something not related to an item on our agenda? All right, I don't hear anything and I don't see any chat items or hands raised. So we'll move into our consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have approval of minutes for November 10th of 2020. And I think I'm looking off of a previous agenda. April and Michael, are we going ahead and moving the Recollect digital recycling education software into the consent agenda?
It's fine where it's at, Kyla. I can talk about it, then we can go into staff reports right after that.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll leave it under new business. So in consent agenda, we have approval of minutes for November 10th of 2020, and then approval of the payroll register. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Do we have any public comment on anything within the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up under new business, we have approve award construction contract to E&B Paving Inc. for the 3rd and Indiana Signal Replacement Project.
Good evening, Matt Smathers with Planning and Transportation. City staff recently solicited bids for the 3rd and Indiana Traffic Signal Replacement Project, with 3 bids being received. The low bidder was E&B Paving, who submitted a bid of $333,555. Construction is expected to begin in spring of 2021. This project is TIF funded, and staff has reviewed the bids and agreement and would recommend your approval of the contract with E&B Paving.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Are there any public comments on this item? Okay, I see no comments in the chat. I don't see any hands raised. Is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move that we award the construction contract to E&B Paving Inc. for the 3rd and Indiana Signal Replacement Project for $333,555.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have approved construction inspection contract with Crossroad Engineers PC for the 7th Street Protected Bike Lane project.
Good evening, this is Roy Ayton with the Planning and Transportation Department. This project will install physically protected bike lanes on 7th Street, improve pedestrian facilities, and improve transit accessibility from the Beeline Trail to Woodlawn Avenue as part of the city's bicentennial bond package. During the construction phase of the project, the city will need assistance with construction inspection. Crossroads Engineers PC was selected from our on-call engineering services list to perform this service due to their extensive experience. with construction inspection services. The total amount of the contract is set at not to exceed $233,600, and staff has reviewed the contract and we are recommending approval of the services agreement to Crossroads Engineers.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
No.
Any public comment on this item? Okay, I hear none and I see nothing in the chat. Is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move approval of the construction inspection contract with Crossroad Engineers PC for the 7th Street protected bike lane project for $233,600, not to exceed.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have approve award construction contract to Milestone Contractors LP for the 14th Street Sidewalk Project.
Good evening, everyone. Russell White with the City of Bloomington Planning and Transportation Department. This project includes the installation of a new sidewalk on the north side of West 14th Street from North Madison Street to North Woodburn Avenue. We received 6 bids for this project. Just the project maintenance of traffic to be approved by the board with this contract will involve temporary and intermittent lane restrictions with flagging operations. City staff has reviewed the bids and are recommending awarding the contract to Milestone Contractors as the lowest responsible and responsive bidder with a bid of $194,658.75.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Are there any public comments on this item? Okay, I see nothing in the chat, no hands raised at this time. Is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move that we award the construction contract to Milestone Construction LP for the 14th Street Sidewalk project at $194,658.75.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have approve addendum number 1 to agreement for consulting services with American Structure Point, Inc. for the Discovery Parkway project.
Good evening again. This is Roy Ayton with Planning and Transportation Department. This project will resurface a portion of East Discovery Parkway, install a section of multi-use path along the north side of the street, and replace some of the existing curbs. American Structure Point is currently under contract to perform preliminary engineering services for this project. This addendum adds design services for a retaining wall that was not anticipated during the project scoping. The services adds $5,780 to the contract for a new not to exceed amount of $107,005. Construction for this project is anticipated in 2021. The staff has reviewed the addendum and we are making a recommendation for approval.
All right, questions from the board on this item?
I don't have any today.
Are there any public comments on this item? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat.
I do not either. Kyla, hi, it's Adam.
Welcome, Adam.
Gotta love the home Wi-Fi.
I know, I had to shut everything off before logging onto this meeting, so I understand. Okay, seeing no public comments, is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move that we approve addendum number 1 to agreement for consulting services with American Structure Point, Inc. for the Discovery Parkway project. And the increase of $5,780 is for the total of not to exceed $107,005.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, we have Resolution 2020-58, approve right-of-way encroachment agreement for 202 East 6th Street.
Good evening. This is Paul Kerber with the Planning and Transportation Department. The Monroe County Historical Society has the property at 202 East 6th Street and is requesting approval for a dog waste station encroachment. 6th Street is a popular street for dog walkers, and the History Center lawn is one of the few green spaces in the area. Historical Center staff spend a good deal of time cleaning up dog waste from their lawn. I hope that this new station will encourage walkers to clean up after their dogs. The waste station is proposed to be located in the grass on the north side of the property along 6th Street, just south of the sidewalk. The waste station is proposed to be in the right-of-way, so it's as close as possible to the sidewalk and more visible to the public. Due to the issues the property owner has had with dog waste on the property and in the right-of-way adjacent to their property, we recommend approval of the encroachment for the dog waste bag station.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
I think we mentioned in the meeting yesterday that the bag of waste by individuals needs to be put in the a city waste container, and there won't be one with the waste station.
That's correct. Yeah, this will not include a waste station.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we had discussed the fact that there are a number of city trash receptacles in the area, and so that those would be the ones that would be in use. And during the work session, we also discussed the fact that the costs for the waste bag station and the installation is one that the History Center is paying for. It's not a city purchased item.
Correct.
Yes, that's correct.
We're approving the right-of-way.
Yes, that's correct. This is Susan Dyer with the History Center. We'll be covering those.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
No.
Any public comments on this item? I don't see anything in chat, and I don't see any hands raised.
I don't see anything either.
Thank you. Is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move approval of resolution 2020-58 to approve the right-of-way encroachment agreement for 202 East 6th Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope it works well.
Me too.
All right, next, engineering services for fire station number 1 renovation.
Yeah, this JD Bohr, Public Works. The fire department has identified funding next year to renovate Fire Station 1. Last month, we issued a request for proposals for design services. We had 8 respondents based on criteria such as qualifications of staff, cost, past projects, especially working on fire stations. It was determined that Martin Riley would be the preferred consultant for this project. And also that with awarding this contract, we also intend to negotiate with Martin Riley for bidding documents and construction management. And the staff would like to award the contract to Martin Riley for schematic design for $15,500 plus reimbursable expenses.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item? We discussed yesterday in the work session that this is for primarily an interior renovation of the fire station. We also got an update about the culvert project, the major culvert project, which will be going near the fire station. Do you anticipate there's going to be any kind of overlap or needs for additional services because of the culvert project as well?
No, in fact, the only benefits, we assume that a lot of the water problems we have in the basement at Fire Station 1 are from that culvert, water coming from that culvert. So we're looking forward to eliminating the problem. And the project will be primarily contained inside the building. The only exterior portion may be to do with the aprons coming out of the street and downspout drains, but nothing major.
Great. I also thought it was good to hear a little bit more during the work session yesterday about the fact that this makes the space inside more equitable, since firefighters are not just men, that it'll allow for space for everyone who's serving at the fire department.
Yeah, that's the trend in fire stations these days, are gender neutral facilities. Like I said, like individual showering and painting rooms, locker rooms.
Very good. Any other questions or comments from the board on this item? And any public comment on this item?
No, I'm not seeing any.
All right, do we have a motion from the board?
I move that we approve the agreement with Martin Riley Inc. for architectural and engineering services for Fire Station number 1 renovations for $15,500.
And just to add, it says plus reimbursable expenses too. So I'll go ahead and just second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have approved agreement with Harold Fish Inc. for replacement of incinerator at Animal Care and Control.
Yeah, again, this is JD Borf with Public Works. This contract, a couple of months ago, I think the board approved the purchase of the incinerator, the new incinerator. This contract is for the removal of the old incinerator and the installation of the new one, which is going to be quite an operation. There is kind of a discrepancy in the bids we got. We had 2 responsive bidders out of 3 that were solicited. And I explained at the work session yesterday, a lot of that has to do with the differing costs for environmental services, the disposal of the old incinerator based on the radiation problem we have, and the difference in construction costs to remove the roof of the building and crane a new one in and reconstruct a roof over the top of it. So, but Harold Fish is a contractor we've dealt with on a regular basis, and we feel confident in their quote being complete. So we'd like to ask the board to approve contract with Harold Fish not to exceed $27,850.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
I know you said that, or in the contract, it's the removal of the old incinerator. Are they also responsible for taking that to Michigan, or the site that you've identified as the place that will be taken?
Yes, those costs are included.
Included in that. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Any public comment on this item?
I don't see any.
Seeing none, is there a motion from the board?
I move approval of
I move that we approve.
the service
Go ahead.
agreement with Harold Fish Inc. for replacement of the incinerator at Animal Care and Control.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you. Y'all have a great Thanksgiving.
Thanks, you too. Next up is approved purchase of Recollect digital recycling education software.
Good evening, Michael Large, Public Works. I wanted to keep this on the new business agenda just so that we can have a larger discussion once again and get this information out there to the public. Kyla, I think that was a great suggestion on your part. I appreciate that. This is something that we were trying to bring on. It's educational software from the company Recollect that provides recycling education and outreach to the public. It allows some enhanced website tools that are specific to the city of Bloomington. And working with Recollect, we plan on bringing, if approved tonight, we plan on bringing this software online in the next month. This is to help with the generated phone calls that have exceeded 200 calls a day at times at the Sanitation Division of Public Works. And anything that we can do to help their limited staff at this time would be very beneficial. I'm here to answer any questions you may have and elaborate more. We will be bringing this once it's implemented back to the board just to do a digital display for everyone. I think that would be a great way to disseminate it to the public once again. So you will see some more of this once we get it up and running. Adam, if you'd like to add to it, please feel free.
That's a pretty good summary. You know, we're just, as Michael kind of said, we're seeing a pretty heavy increase in calls about our recycling program, and we've had money identified this year for programs to assist with education and outreach. We found a good partner here. We're excited to move this forward. We had done several checks with other cities that are using their programming and seem to have some real good success with those other cities, and we're going to give this a shot and hope that it assists on sanitation. So thank you.
Questions from the board on this item?
I just wondered how they're going to disseminate the information to the public, just so the public knows where to look for this information. That includes 3 different areas.
Yeah, Beth, we'll be doing, we'll undertake a pretty significant PR campaign with this.
Okay.
It'll be, as much on digital media platforms as we can possibly disseminate there. We'll be doing mailers with the utilities department. We'll use traditional media outlets to get the word out on, our landing page for our websites will direct people right to these communications. So this will be a pretty comprehensive communications platform that will try to push all of our recycling communications through, as well as I think Michael mentioned at the work session tonight that we can do some scheduling and different other functionality through it as well. So getting this information out.
Difference in the number of calls that you're getting. I mean, the number of calls is amazing after this information.
I think that's some benchmarking we'll look to do. I'm hoping, I won't put a number to it right now, but I'd say significant reduction is the hope. And I think as we get further into, normalizing a bit of the new trends in recycling and getting folks just over time, that'll be a big help as well. But this will really just help with overall communications here with the public. So, but yeah, that'll be some benchmarking we'll try to do is, what are our calls now? What are our calls 6 months from now?
Yeah, sounds like a good program. Thank you.
We're excited.
Any public comment on this item?
Not seeing any.
All right, seeing none. Is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move that we approve service agreement with Recollect Systems, Inc. for digital sanitation software.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have staff reports and other business.
Again, Adam Wason here, Public Works Director. I will just be brief tonight with staff reports. You know, we've been hard at work, I'm sure, and as we talked about at the work session yesterday, you know, we've been lucky up until now with our COVID and Public Works, but I've had some recent cases that have impacted services slightly, but overall, I want to say I'm just real proud of the efforts of the teams to rally around when this occurred. Our sanitation division's been particularly hard hit, and having worked side by side with some of those folks last week, I can tell you the efforts are pretty monumental, and just really want to say thanks to everybody. You know, when this comes into the workplace, it's a scary thing, but you know, we're talking a lot about the precautions that always need to be taken, and hopefully when those precautions are taken, it'll limit any further spread. So, but yeah, I want to say we're just real thankful for all of the efforts across the board in Public Works and throughout the city, but especially down there over the last week or so. Other than that, stay safe, everyone. Take the precautions that are recommended. Wear your mask, wash your hands, sanitize, and believe in science. So that's all I have for everybody today.
Thanks. Next up, we have approval of claims. Are there any questions from the board on claims? Is there a motion from the board on claims?
I move that we approve claims $1,733,000, $33,592.14.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And if there's no other business tonight, then I will call for adjournment.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Have a nice Thanksgiving, everyone.
You too.
Good night. In a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.